What's up? What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel Sports, Life, and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, and I'm here for the news. And today, we're going to be going over this Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud comparison. You got Bryce Young, 6 foot tall, 190 pounds. They say he's creative, poised, and twitchy. You got CJ Stroud, 6'3", 215 pounds, arm talent, accurate, backup plan, question mark. Now, obviously, Bryce Young played at Alabama. He's won a national championship, and he's played in a ton of big games. But at the top, you can see he's only 6 foot tall. And the most concerning thing is he's only 190 pounds. Now, I would imagine between his last game at Alabama and the NFL draft, he'll at least put on, I'll say at least about 15 pounds. So he might be up to about 205 by the time he gets drafted. CJ Stroud, a little bit bigger. He's 6'3", almost 6'4", 215 pounds. By the time the draft come around, I wouldn't be surprised if CJ Stroud isn't anywhere around 220 to 225. He will put on some more weight. Bryce Young is creative. He can move around in the pocket, but Alabama always has one of the best offensive lines. Always has some of the best running backs, and always has some of the best wide receivers in the nation. And he's protected by that big, massive offensive line. He's very rarely hit. And I'm concerned that in the NFL, playing 17 games, there used to be 16 because they added a game. Can he stay healthy for 17 games in the National Football League in an 18-week season at 190 pounds? That's going to be hard because people are laying on you, clipping you. I mean, you getting pulled every which way. There's a lot of small nagging injuries. When I see that weight, that scares me. I watched CJ Stroud against Georgia. He was absolutely phenomenal. The Georgia defense was by far, to me, the best defense in the nation. And he toyed with them. He picked Georgia's defense apart. Now, Ohio State, they ain't no ragtag group of people either. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. They have a bunch of elite receivers, and they always have good backs. But CJ Stroud, to me, is better than Bryce Young. I would take CJ Stroud over Bryce Young based on his height and weight. Am I saying that Bryce Young can't play football? Absolutely, he can play football. He can make the throws. He can do everything. But I would be terrified of him being hurt, especially considering his height and weight. The offensive lines are bigger in the NFL, and everything's moving faster on defense. So when you're that short and that height, you have to throw through throwing lanes. And that's going to be a struggle for him. And I'm going to say something that some people might even find a little more outrageous. If I was the Houston Texans, I would draft Anthony Richardson out of Florida. He's just a big, strong, physical specimen who you can also want to run read option with. That'll let you adapt easier because you can do a lot of play action. I always talk to my cousins and my friends about this, it's easier for quarterbacks who aren't as talented to play in the NFL when they can work off play action. Robert Griffin III. Some people think Lamar Jackson is the truth. He's a great quarterback, but a lot of that shit, reason why receivers are running open because the running game, the threat of him running and the threat of the running backs. So you see a lot of time Andrews, the receivers getting open, the receiver streaking wide open, and he's having one or two reads and it's not overlooking the whole field and trying to pick things apart. He's not doing that, Lamar Jackson. So if you got an Anthony Richardson, you can really build on that. And Anthony Richardson is bigger, way bigger than Lamar Jackson. That's another 6'4", 6'5" guy, 225 pounds, who's a guy he's like a goddamn linebacker out there playing quarterback. Reminds you a lot of Cam Newton. You can win with that, especially early on. But Bryce Young, while being a heck of a quarterback, he's extremely small. You look at that. There's not a lot of quarterbacks at that size who thrive in the NFL. If you look at Pat Mahomes, that's a big guy. You look at Josh Allen, there's some big ass guys. Even when you start going down the line, Aaron Rodgers is not no small guy, man. You do have Justin Fields out of Chicago, but Justin Fields is a goddamn speed demon. Bryce Young couldn't run like that on his best day. So when you don't have that type of speed, it's going to be interesting. Our size, how do you last in the NFL? He has to go to a great team with a great offensive line. So if it was the Carolina Panthers, that would be a struggle. The Houston Texans, that's a struggle. Them are very talented teams. You need a big, sturdy, strong quarterback. And you need something where you can be able to run a little play action, run some of that read option, and them RPOs. You need to be able to diversify your offense. Bryce Young is he mobile? Yeah, he's a little mobile. But at the same time, it's gonna be a little tougher for him because he's not as fast as a Justin Fields. Like I said, he can play. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't start off better than the other two. Because sometime in them seasons and in games, one quarterback will start out better, but as time goes on, and a year or two go on, 3, you'll start to see. Same thing happened to Robert Griffin III. The hurdler. Great athlete, but he was super small. And once people started laying on him and catching him, and it was harder for him. But I like C.J. Stroud as the first overall pick. I just think C.J. Stroud has a great arm. He has great instincts. He can make all the throws, and he's a little bit more of an athlete as far as running the RPOs and shit. I just think he's just all around a little bit better. But I like Bryce Young. If it was me and I had, say you on Madden and you had the first 3 picks at quarterback, I would go C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young. And Bryce Young, if he was a little bit bigger, say Bryce Young was 6'3", and he was already 215, he would by far be the number 1 overall pick to me. For me, it's not just talent on him. For me, it's his health. I just want to go over that small clip. I just want to throw out my opinion out there so when the draft and as time go on, we'll get to see how it all unfolds. Would I be surprised if Bryce Young won number 1 overall? Absolutely not. Or number 2? Absolutely not. Anthony Richardson probably go 3. But if it was me, I would go with Stroud. If I was Houston, I would go to Anthony Richardson. But I'm Samuel Koppel. This has been Sports, Life, and Politics TV. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe. I just took your ass on a Bryce Young versus C.J. Stroud ride. Peace.